welcome back to This Christian Homemaker. My name is Christian, and if you're new here, I share content on biblical womanhood, what we eat, baking, motherhood, day in the life, and more. So if that's something you're interested in, I would love for you to subscribe. In today's video, we're going to be going to the strawberry patch to pick some strawberries. We do this every spring. It's a family tradition of ours. So we're going to be doing that first, and then later I'm going to be sharing some recipes that I will be making for my family, snacks from scratch, sourdough strawberry edition. So stay tuned for that. And anyways, I would love to share a verse for you before we get started. Colossians chapter 3 verse 1 through 4. So if you've been raised with Christ, seek the things above where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on the things above, not on earthly things. For you died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, appears, then you also will appear with him in glory. Anyways, let's go ahead and go. My family's waiting in the car, and so you'll see a little bit of a clip of that, and then on to some sourdough baked goodies. That's fine. Good morning or afternoon, depending on what time you're watching this, but it is morning here. It is the next day, and we got all of our strawberries yesterday. We had so much fun. It's just like a yearly tradition that we do every spring, and we've done it since my first daughter was a little baby, and we've just carried it on every year. Anyway, so we got a lot of strawberries, and of course we're just gonna eat a ton of them without making any type of baked good with it, but I'm also going to be baking a few snacks because, like I've said in my other videos, I really don't ever buy any packaged snacks. So today I'm going to be taking some of those strawberries and using them in recipes. So come along, they're going to be sourdough edition, and I'm so excited to share with you what I'm making my family. If you've been here for a while, I love to serve my family. It's just one of my favorite things to do, and I feel like it's my role as a godly woman. So let's go get to baking. Okay, so this is all the strawberries that we ended up picking yesterday. We already ate some. We had some for breakfast, and then the kids snacked on them yesterday. So for this first recipe, I am making sourdough strawberry cinnamon rolls. I had the dough rising overnight, and now I'm just adding in my baking powder, baking soda, and salt and working that into the dough. And you will be able to find this recipe in my description box. I'm just going to write it out for you all if you're interested in making this recipe. I'm just working on my strawberry filling that's going to go inside of the cinnamon rolls. So I'm taking those strawberries we picked yesterday, and I am washing them off, and then I'm just going to add them to a medium-sized pot. Can you say hey? my strawberries washed and cut up, I am now going to be making my strawberry filling. I actually doubled this recipe because for another recipe that I'm using later, I am going to be using this same strawberry filling. So right here, I just added 3 cups of strawberries, 3 tablespoons of cane sugar, 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon of arrowroot starch. You can also use cornstarch, 2 tablespoons of water, and that is it for my strawberry filling. I'm just gonna cook these strawberries on a medium heat, and I'm gonna let them cook for about 20 minutes. And if you have a meat masher, you're just gonna mash the strawberries in at the end, and it will make this thick, nice texture strawberry filling. And right here, I'm just sticking in some pastry dough that I made, and it's gonna cool in the refrigerator for about 2 hours before I use it. And there is the strawberry filling. And now, if you've made sourdough cinnamon rolls before, you know we always add butter to it. So I added 3 tablespoons of butter to the top of my rolled out dough to get it ready for the filling. Now I just scooped out a thin, even layer of the strawberry filling on the dough, and then I'm just gonna spread it out all over it. If you're gonna try this recipe, don't be like me and roll it up like a regular sourdough cinnamon roll. It's actually a little bit more challenging to roll it up like this, so next time I'm just gonna take small little strips, and so I would cut it up into 12 1.5 inch strips and kind of roll it up like a fruit roll up. So I think that would just be a lot easier when working with this type of filling. So we're in one of those trialing seasons, if you know what I mean. On the day we went to the strawberry patch, it was actually my birthday. A few days prior, I had a nail stuck in my tire that my husband repatched for me, but unfortunately, we noticed the tire pressure had dropped some on the way to pick strawberries. So we decided to pull over and get some Kroger air, and when we were getting some air, it decided to take all of my air out. It went from 31 psi to 18 psi. My tire was now completely flat. Thankfully, there was a tire shop across the street, and he was so kind to put some air in my tire for us, and we got to make it back to pick some strawberries and spend some time as a family together. However, in any trialing season, we may never understand why things are happening the way they are, but it's just a good reminder to be content, be patient, and trust that the Lord is working it all out for your own good. Well, if you noticed that I changed, we had a little accident, mom life. But for this next recipe, I'm going to be making some sourdough strawberry muffins. These are going to be good for a snack or even just something for breakfast or on the go. This is actually a sourdough discard recipe, so no active discard involved. And I went ahead and mixed up the sourdough starter, milk, and sugar together. And after I did that, I added 2 cups of flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2 eggs, 6 tablespoons of melted butter, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla to my stand mixer, and gave that a big mix with my paddle attachment, and then added in that sourdough mixture and mixed it all up until it created this thick pancake-like batter. After that, I added in my strawberries to the batter and stirred that up, and then added the batter into my muffin tin and baked it on 400 degrees for about 35 minutes. This recipe actually gives you an option for cream cheese frosting, but I decided to just stay away from that, and we just ate it without the frosting on it, and they were still really delicious. After about 2 or more hours had passed, I took out the pastry dough out of the refrigerator, and I cut up half of it and then stuck the other half back in the fridge. And now I'm going to roll out that pastry dough. For this recipe, we are making sourdough strawberry turnovers. The recipe that I'm linking in the description box is a blueberry turnover. I just did strawberries instead. So anyways, I'm going ahead and rolled out that dough, and I'm cutting these into 3-inch squares, and I trimmed off 1 inch around the edges. That's why I love this mat, because it just gives me all the measurements, and so I'm so thankful for it, because I don't have to pull out a ruler or anything, or if you want to, you can just eye it, but you know, I don't know. I just really enjoy having this little mat here. It really helps me with all my sourdough needs. I went ahead and got that strawberry filling out that I used for the cinnamon rolls earlier, and I'm adding 1 tablespoon of the filling to the pastry. However, if you're going to make these, I would use a thicker jam. I mean, it can be strawberry jelly, but this was just so messy, I guess because of the filling being so more liquidy, and also the squares just seemed way too small for this type of filling. So next time, I'm just probably going to use a thicker jam or strawberry jelly or something, and then I may cut out bigger squares, because it honestly seemed like they were really small, and it made like these little mini pastries, and I would prefer it to be a little bit bigger. But other than that, they were so good. My husband and I both said they taste like a toaster strudel. I don't know if you had those when you were little, but that is exactly what they tasted like. I will be making this again, but it will be thicker squares and more of a jam-like texture. Anyways, you can just see how messy it was. I had to change parchment paper and everything. But this is how they came out looking. So good. Well, that's the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you were inspired some way. Let me know if you try some of these recipes, and I will see you next week. Bye.